check. Oscar here with ESBR Boxing. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined once again by the legendary boxing commentator that is Adam Smith. Adam, firstly, it's fantastic to see you again. We've just watched that press conference unfold, and I think it's quite clear to say, I think I'd like to say, but I could be wrong, and I'd like to hear your opinion about this. There's a clear mutual respect, I think, just between the two fighters. Obviously, when we go to all these press conferences, there's always a bit of needle, there's always a bit of grit between the two, but a nice warm handshake at the end, and I thought, I mean, sort of Parker's sort of kind of blunt answers, I thought, it was nice to sort of see that between the two fighters.
They're two wonderful ambassadors for boxing, two of the nicest guys out of the ring, very intelligent, the pair of them. Joe's had obviously a very full-on journey in the sport, and Fabio a very different one. I spent time with him in Ipswich doing events, and he's a very funny guy, but he was a recruitment consultant 8 years ago, and look where his life is now. It's an extraordinary story, as you find in boxing. And Joseph Parker's the man that was sort of written off, and he's come back and looks better than ever at 33, so it's terrific to see them as respectful as they are. I think Joe is now taking it seriously. It's 2 days away, and I think he's really up for this. I think he knows he can ill afford a defeat at this stage after getting momentum and closing in on Alexander Usyk. Whereas Fabio, it's he can roll the dice a little bit more. There's less pressure on him. He's got that unbeaten record, but of course he got out of jail at Portman Road in the summer, and he may need that power again on Saturday night. Joe's a big favourite going into this, and that's right, because of the former world champion, his resume's filled with great fighters, and he's in great form. But the activity, the freshness, and the power all with Fabio, so you don't know what's going to happen once that ball goes. It's heavyweight boxing, and that's why we love it. It's unpredictable, but it's great to see the respect between the pair.
Absolutely, and just wanting to touch on Joe there as well. As you mentioned, his career has had a huge revival, I think, and a lot of that, I think it has to be said, is down to Andy Lee, the work that he's done with the coaching, also George Lockhart, the strength and conditioning coach. Is it just a case, I asked the question a little bit earlier, is it just the case that sometimes a boxer just needs a freshen up with his coach? Because since that's happened, obviously, the run that he's been on, defeating Zhang and defeating Dubois, has Andy Lee been arguably one of the best things that's happened to Parker's career?
Andy Lee's been one of the best things that's happened to boxing in terms of a fighter and a trainer. I know Andy very well. He learnt under Emmanuel Stewart. We spent a lot of time together when Lennox was in camp and the Klitschko's, and Andy learnt from the very best the Kronk way, and look at his fighters now, the likes of Ben Whittaker. They're absolutely flying again, and I think that he's been brilliant for Joseph Parker. I think George Lockhart, who's worked with Conor McGregor, has been a big influence, and I've seen a lot of Joe as well out of between camps and getting back into becoming the best heavyweight he can. I think he looks a lot physically stronger, mentally I think as well, and Spencer Brown mentioned it in the press conference, maturity. Sometimes you have to take the odd defeat to come back and find out who you really are, the resilience. I think he's an older guy now. He's not old for a heavyweight at 33, but in terms of he's got a number of children, he's got more. He's doing it for himself now, I think. Before, I think he was doing it, fighting for others and fighting for the acclaim and trying to become that heavyweight champion. I think now he's doing it for himself. He wants to prove something to himself, and I like Joe. I like the way he is about the business and around it. But I also like Fabio, and I think they've come from two different paths, and it's interesting that they meet at this particular time. If you say levels, you've got to go with Joe Parker, but if you say timing, it might be that Fabio 3 years younger and having had more ring activity and having 18 knockouts in the 19 wins and also fighting at home pretty much is all in his favour. So it's a curious fight. I think it'll be a great fight, and I think the fans and everyone watching on DAZN are the winners.
And just touching on Fabio Wardley as well, obviously his trainer, Robert Hodgins, he's been with him throughout his entire career. I wanted to just get your reaction to this. I saw recently Derek Chisora, he was on Sunspot, and he actually questioned Robert. He actually said to him, just live on a Zoom call, that if he feels that if Fabio doesn't win this fight, that Robert will be sacked from his job, which has had a bit of an interesting reaction on social media. I just wanted to know what your thoughts about that. And actually, do you think that Fabio and Wardley and Robert, do you think they ever tried, do you think it's important for them to try and block out noise like that?
100%. Fabio has done more than anyone could expect of him. 4 white-collar fights for a recruitment consultant who was better at football and hadn't even thought about boxing. So I think what Robert's done with Fabio has been incredible, and it's been a fantastic duo. Ben Davison has helped out of late as well, which I think is it's always going to improve you when you've got one of the best trainers in the world around you. Someone that's obviously bringing Moses through as well, so he's had fantastic sparring too. And like Andy Lee, I think you've got very, very good corners come Saturday night. But yeah, Fabio, any fighter's got to block out noise. I'm sure Joe Parker did when he got knocked out by Joe Joyce, and everyone said that's the end of him. Well, look what's happened. He's the number 2 heavyweight in the world after Alexander Usyk, and that just has come from believing in yourself. The talent's always been there, but hard work, dedication, getting those wins over Wilder and Zhang and Martin Bakole at short notice, all great. So yeah, I don't think Joe just listens to Andy and George, and I'm sure Fabio listens to Robert and Ben and the team, and that's all that they need to worry about come Saturday night. It's 2 guys in a ring. Both have earned their place to be in there, a WBA interim champion, a WBO interim champion. And yes, it is a step up for Fabio Wardley, but in many ways he's got no pressure on those shoulders. He can just go in there and be Fabio. And look what it did in June in the rain of Portman Road. No one thought that he'd come through that after 7, 8, 9 rounds, and he did. So ride him off at your peril, but I do expect Joe Parker to... he's certainly the favourite, and he should win this fight. But how often have we said should in the heavyweight world?
Yeah, actually, I was just going to touch on, obviously, Parker making his return to the O2 for the first time in 7 years. The world's eye and attention is going to be on this fight, obviously, because it is really expected that whoever wins this will have that shot, as we said in the press conference, have that shot against the man himself, the Ukrainian, the heavy hitter, Alexander Usyk. Who do you think, you actually just even said that you think that Parker will come on top, but do you think it's going to be closer than most people will expect?
You won't get a prediction to me. I'm calling the fight, so gun to my head. I'm just saying I think Joe Parker should win this fight, but Fabio's got a big chance in it. It's a heavyweight collision. Both have huge power. There's 42 knockouts between them. I mean, they can both hit and they can both fight, so... we'll see what happens and what unfolds on Saturday. I think Alexander Usyk has proved himself the king of this generation. Look what he's done with AJ and with Dubois and with Fury, obviously, and he's deserving his rest at the top of the pyramid. And I've always said Joe Parker is the man that deserves the opportunity. So if he wins on Saturday, obviously I'd love that to happen. But if he doesn't win, then Fabio is next in line to get that shot, surely. We're also going to find out a bit more about Moses Itauma's next opponent, I think, at the weekend. Derek Chisora's got a big fight coming up, Ajit Kabayel in January. So there's lots of people hovering around that Lawrence Okoli, top heavyweight sort of hiatus, that top 10, top 15. Plenty want their opportunity. But I think if Joe Parker wins, however he wins on Saturday, whether he makes a big statement, which he says he will, or whether he just glides home on points, or however he wins, if he's victorious on Saturday, I want to see him in with Usyk next. If he's not, the balls are up in the air again.
Fantastic. As always, Adam, thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it. And enjoy Saturday.
Cheers, I will do. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.